Welcome to Boobies and Noobies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and today I'm joined by former DePaul classmate Adam and his lovely bride-to-be, Michelle. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
So glad to have you. How's life? How is it treating you? You guys are getting married imminently.
This is a good way to spice up our soon-to-be boring marriage lives.
Yeah, romance novels.
I have to say, you guys are like super calm too, like considering that the wedding is coming up. Like, you don't seem like phased at all, which is great.
Because she's planning it all. I just show up.
We love spreadsheets.
That's my language. I like those spreadsheets.
Yeah, that's all her.
And the wedding's going to be in Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah. Exciting. Good.
Figuring out last-minute plans. Doing some last-minute crafting.
No. Seeing friends and relaxing. Going out for fancy dinners.
Are you doing a lot of like DIY crafting for the wedding? Because I know Michelle's an avid crafter.
I didn't think so. Adam thinks I'm doing a lot.
Well, let's take a count here. We're DIYing the table cards.
Okay, that's
table
fine.
numbers.
That's good.
DIYing one of your bridesmaids' gifts. Your cross-stitching? Or
Embroidery.
Oh, that's cute.
Handkerchiefs.
I like that.
Then DIYing just random gifts. Well, your sister is DIYing them for you.
Right.
Nice.
I offloaded that to other people.
That's
so
awesome.
my
good.
sister
Delegating.
My sister's doing groomsmen gifts.
Oh, fun.
Gifts for us.
But it sounds like not a lot of like actual like DIY at the wedding itself.
No, we cut that crap out.
And the decorator was like, we don't like to mix a lot of DIY with our stuff. And I was like, message received.
That's okay. Well, and you know what? I feel like sometimes I'll go to a wedding and they'll have a weird mix. Like it'll be like, we love going to carnivals and we also love NASCAR and we also love this. So you have like,
let's put it together.
All of it at one table. Like it's just so much.
Yeah.
No, I think you're doing the right thing.
Because she's had people just come up to her and be like, oh, I remember the week of my wedding. I was so stressed out by making gift bags for all the guests and putting them in the room. It's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
No.
And it was like, I was stressed out making the handcrafted soaps for the venue. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Handcrafted soaps for the venue? Like
the soap in the soap dispensers there is good enough.
And,
it's there for a reason.
It's just hearing some of these people, like her friends that got married in Chicago. Yeah. Like some of got a little extravagant because one of your friends got married in the top floor of what building?
Super fancy pants club in Chicago.
Well, if you do it like in the city itself, I feel like a lot of people go like the whole skyscraper loft space, like, you know.
And then, because when we were looking at venues, we were like, let's see what the Chicago Athletic Club looks like.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of money.
Yeah.
It looks like money.
And it's like, oh, well, just to start, our base price is what you would put down for a car.
I'll take the car, please.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
You guys are doing it right. I feel like more people should have the more stress-free, especially when people hire a wedding planner or coordinator day of. You said you have. Like, it's just step away. Step away.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Did you guys taste cakes?
No cake.
We're not doing cake.
What? What are you guys doing instead?
We're doing jar cobblers.
Oh, that's so cute.
Donuts.
That's even cuter.
And I think cupcakes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because we're not doing the whole cake cutting and all that. And like, that's dumb. And we don't want to pay for...
They're expensive.
Yeah. Like you got our invite. It was all digital.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you guys, and I'm excited to have you here too, especially with the wedding coming up. Although this episode might come out either close to around the wedding or maybe even right after the wedding. So
should we do a take where it's like, we're married now?
So if this comes out after the 22nd, 21st? 22nd. Congratulations to the newlyweds. If not, good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
She was looking at you when she said good luck.
It's supposed to be like, it's like good luck and congratulations or something. I learned that on Gilmore Girls. Like, you're supposed to tell the bride one thing and the groom something else.
Oh.
I don't know what it is, but I know that there's two different things.
Good luck. Congratulations to you.
So let's dive into this mother. Today we're going to be talking about the book Duke by Day, Rogue by Night by Katherine Bone. And this book was published in April of 2018 and is available on Amazon for just $3.99 Kindle edition. If you decide to splurge for the paperback, it's like $16.
I love how you have this product plug.
Got to make sure you know where to get it and everything. Oh, and I should also mention that this is part of a series, the Nelson's Tea series, and it's the second book of, I want to say 3. There's at least the 2 books, but we know that there's one that follows this one from the way that it ends. So as I'm looking that up, I just want to verify if that's the how many books there are in this series. Ooh, and they got some saucy covers as well. What was your guys' experience before reading this book? Had you read a romance novel? Had you thought about reading a romance novel?
I don't think I had.
Okay.
I used to read a lot of historical fiction, which has romance novel-esque things to it. But it's certainly, it doesn't have these raunchy covers or...
Ooh, yeah.
I wouldn't characterize it as romance novels.
Okay.
So I think this was number 1.
Good. Okay. New experience. Adam, how about you? You look like a man that maybe knows his way around a romance.
Not really. But growing up, one of my best friends, who's actually in my wedding, his mom is still a romance novelist. Well, okay, I shouldn't say is. She is an author and started out as a romance novelist.
Oh my God.
When we were kids, she would be like, and she taught school during the fall and everything. So during the summer, she'd be always working on her book. And his house was where we would always hang out during the summer. So she would be in her office, just cranking out pages. And we would always joke, and even like her husband and even her kids always joke, she writes porn.
Yeah.
I never read them. Because I remember one time someone asked for a copy of her books.
Yeah.
And it was when we were still in, 5th, 6th grade, around there.
11-year-old boys.
She gave him a copy.
Okay.
But...
she tore out all the pages.
She tore out all the pages with all of the sex stuff. So I think about 2/3 of the book had been missing.
Oh my God.
But she has graduated from writing romance novels / porn to now writing, I guess, murder mysteries? Or the author's name is Kylie Brandt. KYLIEBRANT. Yes.
Kylie Brandt. Okay, yeah, because everything that's coming up at first is for sure looking more like thriller mystery.
Yes.
And stuff, but...
So you have to dig deep. You have to do...
Oh, yeah. Here we go. I mean, you just scroll a page and you've got Undercover Bride and Terms of Surrender. Oh, these are like legit Harlequin, like the paperbacks. You can pick them up at Target for like $1.99 and stuff. And oh no, that's great.
No idea. I just remember because there would be a few times like in her office she had a few of like the covers framed because she won awards for them.
Yes,
and everything.
She's got a bunch.
So I think for your next series, you might want to explore a couple of the Kylie B collection.
I'm going to. Yeah, and it looks like she does suspense and all sorts of them.
She's on Facebook and maybe Twitter. I don't know.
Maybe we should read one of those next.
We'll have to tag her and be like, hey, look who's getting married. It's the little boy that used to not read your novels.
She was invited to the wedding. She decided to not come. But
she's living that novelist life.
But now she writes more thriller stuff. But yeah, that is the experience I have.
That's cool though that it's such a close connection. I mean, it really is 2 degrees of separation, barely. I mean, I feel like most people I've talked to who haven't read, they're like, yeah, but my mom read them growing up, or I'd go visit my grandma and she'd have them there. But you had the actual novelist right there. That's cool. I'm surprised you guys didn't try to sneak a peek.
That's what I said.
I don't know if we ever... I think a few of us did, but we were just whatever.
Yeah. Wasn't the right time.
We didn't think too hard, because I know I believe she wrote them all the way from when we were very young.
Yeah.
To, I think, at least all the way through high school. Because she's the mother of 5 kids.
I have to wonder too what that's like growing up. Oh, what do your parents do? Oh, daddy is a fireman and mom is a romance erotic novelist. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be like a shameful thing, but still, I could see where some kids would be like super embarrassed.
Bring it in for show and tell. My mom wrote this book.
Yeah.
And since we were always over there, I remember one time she dedicated a book to all of her kids' friends.
Oh my God!
So it was funny in the way because it was something along the lines of like, to all the kids, to all my children's friends that come over and eat our food and clean out our...
Yes. Well, see, now I'm going to have
cupboards.
to go back and read one of her oldies and be like, okay, oh, this is the book that's dedicated to Adam.
I wouldn't go that far.
You're part of the group. Yeah.
That ate all their food.
They don't have to say your name for you to know and the world to now know via podcast. So you guys hadn't read them. You definitely had some sort of connection, and you've read sort of some of the genre elements. Like, some people I tell, you've read a book with romance in it, but it's not necessarily you would find it in the romance novel section.
Right. I don't think I ever thought oh, that's inappropriate, I can't read that. Certainly, I wouldn't want to have it out in public with those covers.
Yeah.
The Kindle version was great for the airplane, so nobody knew what I was reading. I don't know. I think I probably made some assumptions that I just wouldn't like it.
Did you have
a chick lit girly?
Okay.
Kind of stuff.
Did you have a picture in your head of who does read romance or erotica?
When you said people's moms, I don't think my mom. I don't think I ever saw my mom reading these. My aunts.
So it just wasn't even really part of your world.
Yeah. It was people I don't know read these.
See, and I started reading them because my grandma would read them and she'd give them to my mom, and then I started reading. So it just became this chain of passing the books around and stuff.
I view it as a guilty pleasure book.
Okay.
In the way that people have guilty pleasure television shows. So everyone has oh yeah, see, I'm cool. I watch Ozark, or I watch Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. I'm part of the popular culture. And then it's but also on the sly, I watch whatever is on E now, or I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I follow it, or Big Brother is my thing. Whereas in the literary world, it's romance novels.
So this is to reality television.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
More or less. I view it as the book you take with you on vacation.
Okay. And then some people call them beach reads.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just reading there, and I've got my book. With Fabio on the cover. And that's basically how I know romance novels, is just with Fabio on the cover. Which
is definitely
which, by the way,
one of the ideas people think about.
You did not get when I requested that we have one with Fabio on the cover.
I didn't pick one with Fabio. You can brief the people on what the cover looks like on this, though. This looks like this could have been a cover from when Fabio was modeling for romance novels. So I was okay, this is good. It's got pirates. It's, a period romance. I was this is what people think of when they think of romance, I feel like. So you asked for it, and I gave you something of that variety. Unfortunately, I feel like it wasn't as fulfilling.
Looking at this cover, I'm just wondering, it's when they shoot this cover, is these people are models trying to break in to the modeling world and be
they're the people where this is their career.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the case with these people, but there's definitely models where they are famous for being romance cover novels, much like Fabio is. Yeah, I mean, the cover is, it's Duke by day, rogue by night, and huge font, Katherine Bone, which, I mean, already I'm you're thinking somebody's last name is Bone, who writes romance. Perfect. But then you have this strapping man, shirtless. She's behind him, ripping his shirt off and wearing her, white virginal gown, and there's a pirate ship in the background. This just screams period romance. Yeah. Oh, they're gonna get it on that boat.
But they don't.
Oh my God. I mean, I can't even tell you how disappointed I was. Do
you think the person that designed this cover, that built it out, as the graphic designer, was I never thought I would be doing this.
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't. I actually follow this photographer on Instagram where they do, and I don't even think they work for a publishing company. I think they choose to do all their photo shoots as like what could be potential romance novel covers. And so then they'll like watermark them, and then eventually you do see like some of the books like pick them up, because then they'll take a picture of the book itself, and I'm like, oh, what a great idea though. Like you're just putting it out there and everything, and somebody could just buy it. Let me just give everyone the Amazon synopsis so they can know what we knew going into the book as well. And if you decide to purchase Duke by Day, Rogue by Night by Katherine Bone, this is what you're in for. His identity is in jeopardy, and so is his heart. When a number of ill-advised financial dealings threaten her father's reputation, Lady Constance Stanbury finds herself facing an arranged marriage to a cruel man nearly twice her age. Willing to do anything to escape the betrothal, she boards a merchantman bound for Spain to enlist her estranged aunt's aid. But when the ship is overtaken by pirates, yikes, her dream of freedom disappears as memories of her mother's death at the hand of corsairs flood her with determination never to bow down to a pirate. I feel like that's a good, accurate start to it. Mm-hmm. Then we jump to our hero of the book. Percival Avery, Duke of Blendingham, is a member of Nelson's Tea, an elite group of patriots assigned to protect England's shores at any cost. Service to the crown requires heroic sacrifice, and for Percy, that means living as a double life. On land, he is a mysterious nobleman, and at sea, he is a dangerous pirate, infiltrating the underbelly of society. He takes great care to keep his two identities separate, but while investigating a notorious pirate ring, Percy finds them coming to a head. Now he must choose between completing his mission and saving the life of the beautiful woman he recognizes as his commander's niece. Good God, this is still going. Returning Constance to London isn't easy, however. She will have none of it, even as her traitorous body longs for the devil who saved her. But she is not the only one struggling for control. Passion has no place in a world of intrigue and espionage. And despite his feelings, Percy swears to protect her not only from the enemy, but from himself. Okay, I feel like this says it all in that it's exactly how I feel about the book, which is that it's long-winded and twice as long as it needs to be with nothing happening. Boom.
True.
I will say this is an accurate description of what the book is to a certain extent. Everything they're talking about, though, with, her boarding this boat bound for Spain to escape this bad marriage and getting money so that she can basically save her family from financial ruin. This all happens in the first 5 chapters. There's not a lot here about when they get back to London, which is the bulk of the book and shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. But my biggest complaint is that this book is way longer than it needs to be.
Agreed.
Thoughts? Yeah.
No, I felt the same way because I got to they're back in London, and I was like, there's still 70% of this book left.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now?
And they were separated when they were in London at that point too. So you're like, okay, well, how is this courtship going to continue? It doesn't. And you know what? I'm reading the Amazon page and it says it's 379 pages long. It feels like 479 pages long. And of the 379, I'd say maybe 150 are worth the book. Yeah. I don't know. I felt a lot of times it felt like a lot of stuff was being repeated. And I've marked it in the book. Even just in one chapter, there'll be 3 pages used to describe one thing that you're you've described this several times now. We don't need this.
Yeah.
Maybe let's start with what we liked about the book.
I don't really have anything I did like. I didn't finish the book.
Oh, okay. So I have to ask, 1, how far did you make it, Adam? And 2, why did you stop reading?
Because I was bored. Number 1.
Honesty.
I got about 40% through, 40 to 50% through.
Okay, so they made it back to London.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm just all right, whatever. It's built up as this whole forbidden love, and oh, but I'm betrothed to him, but I love him. And I'm a pirate, but I'm also secretly a duke. Hence the name. Hi, I get what you're doing. There,
yeah.
Katherine Bone, clever.
Which, super awful, you didn't make it to it, but they actually fit the title into a passage where he's like, can you live with a rogue by day and a duke by night? Like, it's, oh my god, it's so awful. But
something like this, you figure, because the way they have it set up, it looks like it's a whole, going back to the cover.
Oh, I know.
Entice people. It's this whole, like, pirate scene. It's like, just give me sword fights and give me sex.
Yeah.
This is a very guy answer. I understand that. No,
but you know what? I had a very similar opinion because I was coming into it. I've read pirate set romance novels before, and you expect them, first of all, to be on the boat most of the time. Like, I was expecting a much longer journey.
Yeah.
And you expect them to be banging, and you want to see, like, some fighting, some swashbuckling, you know, like, you want some sort of piratey action. And I guess you get that a little bit in the beginning, but most of the book is spent in London with them in separate places, like, not even really interacting, and he's no longer a pirate at that point.
Like, spy story angle of, oh, I'm just doing this to figure out who killed my family.
That's a whole other, like, issue I have.
Overcomplicated it. It's like, you can have this whole will they, won't they on the pirate ship, and they do, and you can keep him this whole duke. And you don't find that out till much later, but you have this whole will they won't. And
I'm fine with that. I'm like, okay. I do like the espionage angle, but let's set this up. Percy is on this pirate ship, but they don't call him Percy there. They know him as Thomas Sexton. Gotta fit Sexton somewhere, right? It's not in the book. So, and he's like, he's not the captain at first, but he's working with the captain, Captain Frank. God, the names in this are like terrible, cringeworthy, but like I also love that her name is Lady Constance Danbury. Like,
and what was the name of the tea company?
Nelson's Tea.
Nelson's Tea.
Yeah. And so, and I'm not sure, I meant to look it up, but I'm not sure if there's any like historical accuracy with this whatsoever. Like,
it seems like it's based off of the whole idea with the East India trading.
Yeah.
Trading company, you know, the real thing, where they kind of controlled everything. It
seems
like a direct knockoff competitor of the Celestial Seasonings Company.
But so, and it's put together by Admiral Nelson, and the whole idea is that they're just basically like British spies. Well, not even really spies, but yeah, just like secret like spies checking to make sure that everything is on the up and up for England. And there's supposedly like people on the ships, and they're communicating with people where they're working with France. That's the whole idea. Yeah. Because they mentioned Napoleon, don't they?
England needs an enemy. Who should be there? Oh, yeah, let's give him France.
Yeah. Right? But yeah, so, and then he eventually takes control of the ship because Captain Frank attacks another ship that Constance happens to be on with the very purpose of stealing Constance. It was almost like everything just worked out too easily. I felt like it was too many coincidences. Like, it was like the one guy that ends up being the one behind all the bad trades and stuff. He's also the person that like killed Percy's family, but also is like behind Constance and her mother being kidnapped and her family dying. Like, it's just like he's behind all of it, the one big bad guy.
I was trying to give Adam the summary of what he didn't read.
Yes.
And so I got there, and he's like, well, why? And I was like, I have no idea. I actually have no idea why he did all of these things.
Yeah. From what I can figure out, okay, so Percy lost his sister and his father, and they were attacked in their carriage ride home.
Yep.
And he harbors so much guilt about this, which is so unwarranted. Although I do like that it kind of mirrors the guilt that Constance's father feels too, because like they kind of, that was like the one good plot thing that I actually pulled out of it, was I was like, he harbors guilt because he wasn't there to save his family, and Constance's father is the same way. He wasn't on the boat with his wife and daughter, so he feels like he played a part in their death. And But the guilt is just so ridiculous. And then you find out that basically, what's the bad guy's name? The guy Lord Burton. And behind everything. And that he basically wanted to marry Percy's sister or like court her. And they're like, no. He's like, okay, I'm just going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And then was doing the same thing with Constance. Was like, he wanted to marry Constance to basically... Well, he's evil. He, like, beats up women and his servants and stuff, like, and tortures them, which is, again, weird. I guess he's just, like, sociopath, totally. Like...
But that also seems like it's a bad storytelling technique as well. It's like, the only way to make this person evil is if he is abusive to women.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't see any of this. Like, that's the problem, too, is you don't see him being evil. You see him being, like, needy and, like, he's pursuing her and, like... You hear all these people being like, oh, well, I had him investigated. Oh, well, this person told me that this person said this about him. But you're like, okay, but we're not seeing him be evil. And then at the end, it turns like super dark, like super quickly. Because he's like, was it him or Frank that's like, they're like in on it together. But one of them's like, yeah, you know, I had my way with your sister and like raped her until your dad died. And then I killed her too. And you're just like, oh my God. Like, this is just coming so out of the blue.
This seems like this is a, I wouldn't even say B version. It's more like a D version of the Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay, I could see that.
Where he's just on this whole path towards vengeance and you have this other lord just...
Well, and here's the thing. I've read this book as a better book. Like, I mean, I've read this same story. Like, and you know what? Granted, it's a romance. Like, I write rom-com. I get it. Like, you're playing off the same conventions, but it could have been better. Like, and it's you had the setup. Like, you have them starting on a pirate ship that's attacking another pirate ship. Like, you already have this great setup. Like, and then... all of a sudden they just immediately turn back and go back to England. Like, I thought they were going to have to, like, continue on their journey or, like, go on some new mission or something. But that was, like, my biggest disappointment was that they're on the boat for, like, a hot second.
Mm-hmm. They're just like, all right, let's turn around.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe I missed it. I don't even remember why they were, like, out there in the first place. Was it specifically to attack that other ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they set it up, was they were out to attack a ship, and Percy was trying to figure out, like, why are we attacking this ship?
Yeah.
What is it that he wants, and who's telling him to do this?
Which we don't find out till the end, but it all leads back to Burton. Like, any problem in this book all leads back to Lord Burton. Like, every single one. It was really hard for me to, like, finish reading this book, so... But you know why I finished reading it? What was I waiting for?
Sex.
For that last scene.
For them to Katherine Bone. Like, it just, and it's, I'm sorry. Like, you know what? And usually I will read a book in a series and be like, okay, I will judge this based on, did I like this enough to read the next book? And so far, no matter how much I've disliked a book we've read, I have said, you know what? I like it enough. I like the characters enough, or I think the world's cool enough to read the next one. I'm not reading the next one in this series.
Is this the first? Did you say this was the second one?
Second book.
Well, I'm curious to know what the first one is.
We definitely know what the third one's about, because at the end of this book, there's like a prologue for the next book.
And it sounds like book, like the next book is about a different, like a secondary character from this book. It's going to focus on him. So my guess is the first book, maybe
different
Percy's in there as a secondary character.
Oh yeah,
maybe it ends with them getting murdered.
Maybe it ends with his family getting
murdered. That's like every romance series. It's basically like treat it like a Marvel universe. Like you basically have the same characters, but Iron Man gets a movie. You know, Captain America gets a movie, but the other ones kind of pop in and out. Okay. That's how these are, too. Okay, yeah, the first book is about Gillian Chauncey and Lord Simon Danbury. Okay, I remember them in the book, but I really, at this point, couldn't even tell you who they were.
Isn't she the Baroness who brings them together?
Yeah.
And that must be her husband that died. Or maybe that's the uncle.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. because they wouldn't have him die in the end. It would be like a happy ending. You know, and I love
it gets you with
this
the cover.
kind of story.
And her name. With the cover and her name, I told a few people, I was like, I have to read this book.
Yeah.
The author's name is Katherine Bone. And I show the picture, and they're like, whoa.
This cover promises so much. Like, and even like you said, Adam, like in the description, it's like painted to be like this, you know, secret romance. Like they, you know, are, oh, we have to hold each other. Like we can't. I'm promised to someone else. She's not engaged to anyone else. Like her dad's thinking of making her get engaged to someone else. And then this guy is like just so, his entire story is like about his family, like finding their killer. But
and also, then if you're a pirate by night,
yeah,
if you're this rogue, you have to think about it. He's basically kind of like Batman. Just go with me on this, all right? Batman is out at night, you know, doing good,
right,
bringing justice,
right.
Whereas Bruce Wayne is out during the day being a philanthropist / playboy,
yeah,
dating models and then going out, keeping up the image. Whereas this man does not keep up the image of neither being a duke,
oh yeah,
well,
or a pirate. Yeah, he raids ships, but it's not like if he is a true pirate.
Yeah.
He's out there raiding ships and being a world-class philanderer.
I think she tried to make him like Batman, because when he's in his Duke persona, she talks about how he dresses in the highest fashion, and he's
he's supposed to be like circles. Over the top, and he wears the white powder wig.
No,
you know what I wrote about his appearance? I was like, he went from Jack Sparrow to Commodore Norrington. Like,
there you go. And he should be banging wenches left and right as his roguish character. Because as a rogue, you have to keep up these
that's the thing, is I didn't want to lose the pirate element too. Like he literally goes from one to the other, and that's it. Like you don't get, like you're saying, where you have like him at night dressed up one way going out, like. But because the only thing he continues to do, which doesn't make sense, especially if he looks like a duke, is he basically spends the whole second half of the book like stalking people around the streets of London at night, like going into the seedier places of town. I like wrote it down. I was like, does all this guy do is like following people through alleys and stuff? Like, that's not weird that he's like a duke that just inherited the dukedom, like, and yeah, I don't know, it just felt really weird.
But it's the 18th century, so you know, there's not Twitter or anything, so people don't know what he looks like.
Yeah, but there's so much scandal. Like, if anybody does anything, it's like, oh my gosh, you were on a pirate ship, like, period. You have to get married. People are going to think you're pregnant. Like, I don't know. It was a lot. Like, it was just a lot. I wrote so much knife throwing in this book. They throw knives at people like 3 times. Okay, I liked this. I mean, I did like the setup. I do like that there's pirates and espionage and everything, but I just feel like Katherine Bone, was not using the tools she was given. Yeah. Like, it did not work. I did like some of the side characters, too. Like, I thought the Baroness was pretty cool. Isn't she the one that's, like, she has the ball and, like, all this stuff? Like, she just came across as, like, the cool, like, wealthy aunt that just wants to, like, spread wealth everywhere.
Yeah. I think the same. I think going into it, there was, like, a moment where I was like, okay, this could be cool. Like a pirate.
Yeah.
But it flopped.
I don't know. Adam, was there anything you liked?
No.
Was there a moment you liked? Anything that you're like, oh, maybe you made it to 40% in the book. Like, what kept you going?
Just holding out for something exciting to happen.
Yeah.
And
it got to the point where it's like, I wasn't even waiting just for, like, them to have sex. I was, like, waiting for anything. It's so sad.
It's like, you're now betrothed to him, but we want to now set you up with this duke.
Yeah.
You love him. It's like, okay, cool.
Because in terms of, like, the sexy times, we basically have them almost hook up on the ship, and it doesn't happen, and then they don't even really have a chance to get together at all until much later in the book, because she goes her separate way and she has her problem of figuring out, how am I going to like solve the family's financial troubles and not have to marry this old evil guy? And then he's like so hell-bent on the espionage stuff and finding out who killed his family that they're not even like crossing paths until they finally have sex. And I think I marked it in the book, like it was...
When do they finally have sex?
94% into the book.
After they're married.
Yeah, they wait until after they're married, which is not uncommon for these books, but it's also like you don't usually have the wedding at the end and then they have sex. But, oh my God.
Classic will they, won't they?
There wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. My problem was like, you didn't even like, when they're on the boat, it just seems like she hates him, like, no matter what, don't you think?
Yep.
And then when they finally, like, kind of make out and she's the one, like, pushing for them to have sex, that you're just like, why?
Yeah. It was very weird, and I read it and I was like, oh, here we go. This is where the book takes a turn.
Yeah. No.
And she hates him because she keeps going. Another repeated thing is like, I can't trust any pirate because they killed my mother.
Yeah. So, like, the first, like, 30% of the book is on the boat, and it's basically him over and over again saving her. Like, he saves her multiple times, and her being like, I can't trust you, and please let me kick it with my handmaid. And that's like, and he's like, no, because when you do, you get into trouble. Because when you do, you almost die, and I have to save you again. All of a sudden, she's like, damn, this guy is sexy.
Well,
like,
when you've been out at sea that long.
It was like a week. Like,
yeah, it hasn't been that long. I think, how old is she supposed to be?
It's not a cruise ship.
She's young.
They're not on a carnival cruise.
I know. She is young because I think they say she's 19.
Point. Yeah.
She's either like 18 or 19. He's got a few years on her too, because I remember him saying something about how something happened when he was... Oh, he remembers when he knows her because he'd met her in society, but he remembers that her mom and her were taken, and he had read about it when he was 20, and at the time she was only like 9 or 10. Yeah. So, you know, he's definitely got like 10 years on her. But, oh, I also love that when he's a pirate, he has an eye patch, but he's not missing an eye.
Part of the disguise. Hello.
I know. Well, you were thinking
Clark Kent
that's what I was
glasses.
Yeah.
Superman.
I did write down in this at some point. I was like, oh, he's Clark Kent. He takes off the eye patch and now he's a duke. But it was one of those things though where I was like, he couldn't be a pirate without an eye patch. Like,
well, it's either that or a peg leg.
Right? It's got to be one or a hook. Oh, God. I'm just, like, scrolling through my notes, too, to see, like, what some of because the repetition and, like, the spoon feeding was really bad, like, a lot of the time.
On both of their backstories, because I feel like you heard about his father and sister, like, once a chapter.
Yeah.
And about her and her mother being attacked almost as much.
Yeah. Like, page, what is this? It says 126. So I think this is close to when they get off the boat, but this is like the fourth time we've heard this argument. You're a pirate, she went on. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I will never be persuaded otherwise. I cannot, no, I will not trust you. And I wrote down, this is so far the exact same fight over and over between them. Like, it's just, yeah. And then all of a sudden, this is 10 pages later, she tells him, but you are decent. You saved my life. You've shown me, albeit in your own way, that you're a good man, Thomas. And 10 pages later, like, you know, it's just...
she's a little... Yeah.
Huh?
A lot can happen in 10 pages.
But it doesn't. Because that's the thing is, I'm all about...
I am the one person that didn't finish the book, and yet I'm the one standing up for it.
Because you didn't finish it.
Yeah.
If you kept going, it just would be worse and worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just, like, again, it's like she could not trust him when he first picks her up. It makes perfect sense. She has this tragic past with pirates, but then... You have to get over that. You have to like, oh, he's winning you over. He saved you. He's proving to you once and again that he's not a bad guy, but she doesn't do that. Like, she's just in the same mindset, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, mind you, nothing happens between those 10 pages that's like a monumentous event. Like, she just all of a sudden is like...
It's also weird that he keeps saving her life.
Yeah.
And, like, because she's just a real...
Well, that's your classic that's your classic love story, is the woman can never do anything for herself.
She's the damsel.
Ergo, the man always has to come in.
There's even a passage I marked where he says, my dear, you... I don't know if this is him talking or like her father talking, but they say, my dear, you are a woman and therefore are not held accountable for decisions you make. And part of me was like, okay, of the time, sure. But then part of me was also like, I feel like if you did do something wrong, you're like treated as an outcast by society. So you are held accountable. I don't know. It just...
I think I highlighted that one too.
I have to say there were some dialogue moments or like words they said where I'm like, damn, I'm going to add that to my my repertoire. Ninny hammer. That's one, like, oh, don't be a ninny hammer. Zounds. There was a lot of zounds. Like, I think it's like an exclamation like gadzooks or holy smokes. But zounds, I'm in a beastly pickle. Like, I didn't know that's what pirates said, but I'm all about it. Capital. They said capital a lot. He'd be like, oh, capital
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how people talk in high society.
I highlighted when they say, oh, botheration.
Botheration.
What does that mean?
That makes me think of Winnie the Pooh, like, oh, bother.
How is oh, botheration used in a sentence?
Oh, she's very frustrated. She wanted to stamp her foot like a petulant child.
Because she is a petulant child.
She is. Like, that's the thing, too, is I'm like, I found her so unlikable. And he was likable in that he was clearly, like, an upstanding guy. Like, you know, he's going to save her even if it means risking this mission he's been on. But for me, it was like he just kept falling into the exact same... They both did. I mean, they both kept falling back to their stories. I don't know. It just felt very lazy. Like, it just felt like, oh, you know what we haven't talked about in 2 pages? The fact that her father wants her to marry for money.
Okay. So, now, we've already covered what we like, what we don't like. Let's flip it up. New category.
Okay.
How would you fix this?
Okay. Cut it down to like 175
Well,
pages.
okay, cutting it down, that's one thing. But what would you do story-wise to make it better?
This one, I think it's fine how long it is, but you're just seeing the same stuff over and over again. So, like, first of all, at least half the book is taking place on the boat in my version. Like, at least half. Like, and on the boat, they are developing their relationship. Like, she is going to learn to trust him, and then maybe it ends with, like, you know, he returns her to shore. She's pissed because you're making me go back, and he doesn't know why, which is still part of this story, is he doesn't know why she's, like, upset to be going back to England because she doesn't tell him. Maybe he doesn't know who she is. I think that could be, like, a good addition, too, is that he doesn't know. It could either be that he knows who she is and that's why he can't touch her, which is kind of what it is in this one. Or it could be that he doesn't know who she is, and so when he finds out who she is after they've had sex or, like, hooked up somehow, then it's like, oh, shit, I have to step back. Like, I have to get away from this right now. But just, like, more complications within their relationship as opposed to these complications they have separately that have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of space for them, like, getting to know each other and for, like, us to get to know them, because you don't know anything other than, like, his father and sister were killed, her mother was killed, and she has to marry this terrible man.
Because that's not really even about them. Like, you don't really learn anything about them. You don't know what kind of girl she is. You don't know what kind... Well, you know a little bit of what kind of man he is just from, like, the actions he takes. But, like, for her, she just comes across as a whiny brat. Like, so I'd love to see her have maybe a little bit more depth and less about their circumstances and, like, what their issues are in the past and more of, like, okay, what are they doing now, you know, to move forward. And it's fine. He could still be hunting for his family's killer. Like, and she could still be trying to get away from this marriage. Because, I mean, it kind of is like a rom-com setup where she's trying to get away and he's making her go back. Like, it's, you know, they're opposing forces. But
what if it were, instead, he's just a scoundrel who's turned his back on this whole Duke lifestyle?
That could be a thing, too.
He's supposed to get it all, but his true love is the sea. He just wants to sail that big blue, see what's out there.
But then he falls in love with her.
And he does it by raiding ships and just being an all-in-all pirate.
And
then they get back to shore, and that's when they both find out, hey, you're this guy's daughter, and you're promised to this creepy baron, and you're this Duke, OMG. And now it's no longer forbidden love.
Yeah.
And then they think, oof, now what can we do to be together? But it's still for Britain, because he's turned his back on his birthright. She's betrothed to Burton, fancy face, whatever. So then they go and they're seeing each other in secret.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
that could be a thing too.
But you're really set on like him being a pirate and like just ravaging lots of women.
He could be a pirate though and still be doing this espionage thing.
He could be the Han Solo of the 18th century of the high seas. Or to put it in pirate terms, he's like Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, like he doesn't have to be like a bad guy to be a pirate too. Like it's, you know, he could still be. I've read books where I feel like most of the pirate ones I've read, the guys aren't just a pirate; they actually are someone when they get back to shore. Or like they just have money. They always have money because we want to be taken care of by the rich pirate. And but it's. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's definitely needs to be more to the pirating. We did have, like, one fight. And then a lot of knife throwing.
It's backroom politics and high society of the 18th century. I can't read that. If I want to see that, I'll watch Taboo.
Well, and even the politics were kind of lame, too. Like, it wasn't... Like, her drama wasn't even dramatic. Like, I mean, he's hunting down a killer. She's... I don't know, just like, oh, I'm going to have to throw a party to, like, find a new husband. First of all, why didn't you already do this? Like, this should be, like, option number one. You don't want to marry him? Find someone else to marry. Like, there were just so many pieces that could have been played, and they weren't, which made it just really disappointing. So, I don't know. It's one of those ones where I don't know if I would want to read the next book, but, like, part of me wants to just to see if there's something different or, like, maybe like a different series, but...
Does she have other series? Like, non-Nelson's Tea?
Let's see. Katherine Bone.
You might have to go to the earlier stuff, I find, with romance novels, because that's when you have your best material.
Spoken like somebody who's actually read romance novels.
And then...
Your earlier stuff is your best material? I disagree.
Well, that's what got you noticed.
That doesn't mean it was good. Like... I mean, if you look back on, like, a book that was written 30 years ago, that doesn't mean it's going to be good by today's standards.
It seems like it would be better.
We read one recently for the podcast where I actually tweeted and was like, oh, this is the book we're reading. And the author was like, oh, my God, just so you know, that was the first book I wrote. Like, I've gotten so much better since then. It just, I mean, I'm looking at her other books, and she's got another pirate series. She's got another, like, Duke, Lord, Lady.
What are some of the common tropes or settings for most romance novels? Obviously, pirates.
Well, there's a lot of subgenres. So, I mean, if you think of all the genres that exist regularly, like science fiction, historical, like any of that is also going to exist in romance. So I've read paranormal, I've read science fiction, I've read fantasy. There's, like, types like this where you have pirates, cowboys, aliens, motorcycle clubs. And then there's just, like, contemporary romance is, like, reading a Hallmark movie or reading a romantic comedy you would see, like, on Netflix. Like, Set It Up, one of their newer ones. They're very much written the same way. Like, it's guy, girl, they don't like each other at first. Or they're instantly attracted to each other. You know, It's not that different from watching a movie, you know, but...
Just happens to have more sex.
Yeah.
In most cases, not in this case.
In most, that's... I can't. Like, it's... And you know
this
what?
Is the elephant... All right, this is the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the lack of sex.
Yes, because one of the grades that I will ask you guys to give on the podcast for the book, and one of the segments we usually do is, what's your favorite or least favorite sexcerpt from the book? Or how sexy was the book on a scale of 1 to 10? We only have one sexcerpt to choose from. Like... And you know what? I don't think it's poorly written, the sex scene at the end. Like, it kind of makes me wonder if there were more throughout, if it would have been maybe, like, a little bit more redeemable. But, yeah. I don't know. What'd you think of it? Because Adam didn't make it to it.
There.
I thought it felt like a wedding night sex scene.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So
I like the way you described that.
A little bit more, it wasn't like the raunchy, like, passion of what could have been on the boat had that gone on. Yeah. It was like... We're married now, and he's like, are you ready? Are you sure? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, just
well, let's be real, like, the
FYI,
forbidden...
That's how our wedding night is.
Are you ready?
You ready?
Are you ready?
You good?
You good? Alright, I'm going to turn on TV now.
Yeah. But, like, it's not forbidden anymore, because they're also married. I mean, let's be real, like, forbidden love, forbidden secret sex. Like, that's always going to seem hotter than, like, wedding night, losing your virginity sex. Like, but and then it was kind of like we went from nothing happening to everything happening at once. Yeah, because, like, the Baroness and Constance, and who else? They're with some other girl.
Yeah, some of her friends.
Oh, Winnie and Eleanor, useless. They get attacked, and... She gets kidnapped, and then Gafald gets stabbed and shot, and then we find out, Percy goes to save her, and we find out the truth about how Burton's behind everything that's ever happened in England. And knife throwing.
You don't get to that position as Lord Burton does without making a few enemies and making a few plots to kill people and... forcing others into bankruptcy. So
I forgot about that.
So then they have to marry their daughter.
Yeah, he's the whole reason that her father has no money.
Yeah. Just so he can marry her. Yeah. Like, come on. Come on.
I mean, that's a pretty baller move.
Yeah.
I will say
it's like, but I didn't even know that somebody had done that to her father. I thought, like, he had just, like, run out of money or gone, like, bankrupt or something.
Yeah, she seems to say, like, a series of bad investments, but then he's like, I was all those bad investments.
Yeah, it was me. You're like, oh, okay. Cool. Everything was you. Did you guys see Hamilton or, like, know any Hamilton? Mm-hmm. Okay, because there's a scene where they're like, mark my words, he's aboard, sir. A crewman slipped out of the fog, guarded by 4 men, sir. Like, and I was just like, Aaron Burr, sir. Like, I was just waiting for it. Yeah, I literally wrote, Burton is behind everyone and their mother's death. Literally. Oh, and then, of course, near the end, we have are you implying that you are willing to love a duke by day and a rogue by night?
And all of a sudden he started using ye or ya.
Yeah, there would
all
be,
of a sudden I was weird, like, that's not how you talk.
Weird appearances of the yas and it was really just that. Like, and then he would say capital, like, the rest of the time. So, I don't know. Like, I would have bought it more if it was, like, a cool background thing for him, Adam, in the rewrite, we'll be doing, is... that, maybe he was, like, raised at sea or something. Like, maybe his father was a duke, but he wasn't raised with, like, the spoon in his mouth kind of thing. That could be good.
He's a seaman by trade.
Yeah, seaman by trade.
That's title. Done.
Seaman by trade.
Yep.
Did we want to read anything from the sex scene? It's not poorly written. The dialogue in sex scenes usually isn't my favorite, but, like, the description they have as, sorry, I'm gonna drop my dog. He bent down to suckle her nipple as his hand slid down her body to caress her ankle, her calf creating a sensory path tingling all the way up, this is the same sentence, to her inner knee, thigh, and higher, higher, and higher, until he found the juncture between her thighs. He kissed her and slipped his fingers inside, stroking, creating a throbbing need that crescendoed until she quaked with unrestrained desire. Whew, that's wordy.
Is that how that went down for us this morning?
Although I even thought, when I first read that sentence, I was like, nipple to ankle.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a very odd angle he must have been in. Or she's like a very tiny woman.
Yeah. He's so burly, and he's got such a wingspan that he can reach everywhere.
At once.
I'll try that tonight.
Maybe I'll just pull my ankle really close.
How romantic. Babe, I want you to pull my ankle, like in Duke by Day, Rogue by Night. I even wrote at the end, when they have the prologue for the next book, Captain Henry Guffald and Lady Adele Seton, which I don't think we know her yet. At that point I wrote, honestly, I don't even care. And I'm sorry, like I had to keep walking away, coming back. I don't know. Did you guys have that experience too? I mean, Adam walked away, period. Yeah.
I read it in short chunks. I read it a lot at the gym.
Oh, I feel like this would not be the book to pump you up at the gym either.
No. And that's why there's parts where I'm like, I'm not sure what's happening. Just keep reading.
Keep getting
reading.
through it.
Is there an audio version of this book? I'm curious.
Probably.
Because it seems like it might play better as an audiobook.
Could be. I'm going to be doing one with someone where they're like, I want the audiobook because I'm dyslexic. Like, I ain't going to read that shit. And I was like, okay. And I was like, you know what? I actually haven't listened to a romance in audiobook. So I'm kind of curious. If you guys don't have anything else to add, I'll ask you to give it a grade.
Shoot.
Okay. So out of 10, 10 being the very best, 1 being not. A grade for story, a grade for syntax, and a grade for the sexcapades.
Okay.
Maybe we should start with the sexcapades, because I feel like it's going to be a pretty simple answer from everyone.
Can we do 0? Or
you could. I'm going to give it a 1 for the one sex scene that was in it.
0, because I didn't get that far.
I'll go 1.
Yeah, I'll go 1 too. And you know what? I'll say it wasn't a poorly written sex scene. I'll give her that. But yeah, it's how can you give it more? Like, it's 1 for 1. There you go. How about the story itself? And that can be interpreted as you will. That could be like the way that it flows. That can also include like, you know, if you felt like there were jumps that didn't make sense or, you know, storylines that didn't make sense.
3. I didn't finish it. So
that's pretty. You got a 3 though for making it 4.
Yeah, I mean, it was able to somewhat interesting. Like it was on the right path.
Okay.
To be like, hey, you got this. He's a spy and trying to get vengeance. Okay, cool. But then it just took a hard left.
Yeah.
Just careened off a fucking cliff.
It makes sense to... What an image. It makes sense to me that you made it through, and the part that you thought was okay was the boat, too. Mm-hmm. Like, that makes sense to me. Like, that was, I felt like, the strongest part of the book. That and the very end when everything happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But how about you, Michelle?
I'd probably say 4.
Okay.
I think all the repetition we've talked about drops it down. I think there was too much going on. Mm-hmm. But I give it some credit for like the idea.
Yeah.
And she tried to have like all these different pieces and things wrapped up, I guess, all with Lord Burton. But at least they didn't just kind of never get to that resolution. Yeah. So we'll go 4 out of 10.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I read the whole thing and I probably still would give it a 3. Like, just because I felt like there was so much there that could have happened and she had all the stuff to play with, and the entire middle of the book, I just felt like was a waste. Like, nothing happened. Nobody made any new choices. No new information was coming available. Like, but the end had everything and the beginning had like a cool setup too. So maybe I'll give it like a 3+, but not good enough for a 4. How about syntax, the writing, the quality of the writing?
I give it I'll say 4.5.
Okay.
Just based off the whole things like the repetition and then but then the whole, we're throwing in all these plot twists for twist's sake.
Yeah, I think her syntax is probably the highest grade I'd give her between the 3 categories, like I'll give her a 5. Like I'll give her a 5. Like I would read something else by her. Like I actually, if she does like a contemporary something, I'd be interested to see like what that's like. With all the other stuff, it just couldn't play out for me.
I'd agree. I would have said a 4.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of times I got confused. I also felt in the beginning there was a lot of language that I was like, this is going to be a really sexy book. Mm-hmm. Just the way they talked about very unsexy things using some of these words. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah, a lot of verbs.
It just never happened.
Even in that sex scene I read the excerpt from, it's like it's like 8 verbs in like one sentence.
Yeah.
Caressing, stroking, I don't know what else, but okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I feel like we're all kind of on the same page, except for Adam, because he didn't make it to the last page.
I mean, we're technically all on the same page.
Yeah.
It's just I realized it before you.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, what does that say? That's even like kind of worse, because like he didn't even read half the book, and we all kind of have the same grade. We, having read the entire thing, are still on the same page, but...
I think, though, if you only asked me to read up until they got off the boat, I probably would have scored it a lot higher.
Oh, interesting. I wish there were more movies that were, like, pirate romances. Like,
yeah, it's called Skinamax.
You know what, though? We've talked about that on the show before. We've been like, there should be, and there actually is a platform now where they're making romance novels into movies, like, specifically for that platform. And I haven't watched any yet, but... There's several we've read where people have been like, this would be like a really good series, or this could be, a short mini series that they did, or like just a one-time movie. Like, this isn't one of them, but maybe but you could do, depending on the other ones, it could be the Nelson's Tea series. Yeah. Like, I could see that. Would it really even be like, Skinamax porn? Like, think about like what's in, Game of Thrones. Like,
yeah.
Well, have you seen Skinamax porn? They're basically live action. They're basically live action adult movies, or romance novels.
I mean, this is
not
not porn. Like this book is not.
Well, no, not this book.
No. There definitely are some. Yeah, that are much more porny. Okay, well, so having read this book. And I have to say, I know we weren't thrilled with the book itself, but we couldn't have known going into it and everything that wouldn't have been the case. I'm not disappointed that we read it. Like, I'm always all about exploring a new author and everything. I'm sure Michelle will maybe have a different opinion than Adam on this one, but what would you consider reading another romance novel after this experience? Or, and if you did, would you want to read something else by Katherine Bone? Would you want to just read or be more open to picking up a romance novel off the shelf in like Barnes & Noble? Like, what's your experience having done the podcast?
I think I would be open to reading another romance novel. Part of me says yes, another Katherine Bone, just to see if there's something, what are some of the ones people like?
Yeah.
If not, I would say I would probably prefer to do it on somebody's recommendation as opposed to like blindly. Do I just keep picking and reading this?
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Adam.
I mean, even if it's a romance novel, if it's a good story, it's a good story.
No, that's a good point.
That's what you have to realize. And so, yeah, I would.
Would you?
Maybe not her, because I'm just...
You're just turned off by the bone.
Yeah.
Would you, either of you, would you want to read another historical romance, or would you want to step outside of the, historical piratey nature and read something different?
I like the historical genre.
Mm-hmm.
I also, an article came through as I was reading this about a girl who read romance novels to get over a breakup.
Oh.
And kind of debunked all the stigma around romance novels, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, send me that. I want to read that.
I will, which linked to another article. Apparently there's a lot of authors in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, there are. Definitely
and
are.
One of them does a choose-your-own-adventure style.
Oh.
And I was like, well, that's what I want to read.
Because there was a choose-your-own-adventure romance that came out this year that I haven't read it yet, but I did see it when I was in Portland right after it had come out, and everyone's been really loving it online.
Because I loved those books when I was a kid.
So
here's the grown-up version.
I flipped through it if it's the same one that I'm thinking of, because I think it's just the one book. I don't know if there's other ones, but this one I like flipped through it and you would get to the page where you choose and it'd be like, do you run off with the stable boy into the night, or do you do your fucking job and stay at the party like with your mistress? Like it was really funny because it kind of poked fun at the genre itself, but like in a fun, loving way. Pick it up while you're in Chicago.
That can be my wedding week read.
There you go.
That, or what was the one you said earlier? The something bride. One of
Kylie Brandt.
Kylie Brandt's.
Oh,
there was one that you read that was something about, you know.
I've got a whole bride series from Nora Roberts if you want those, and they're pretty good. It's like
Nora Roberts.
Yeah, this one I actually, and I like Nora Roberts, but I call it mom romance. Mm-hmm. Like it's more of like of my mom's generation. I feel like we'll read it more. Not knocking it, but I just want something different. But she does do this series called, I think, the Bride Quartet series, and it's like these friends who plan weddings together. They have like their company and everything, and it's cute. Well, thank you guys so much though for joining me and doing this and slogging through the pirates and whatnot. Hopefully we can get you guys with another book that'll cleanse your palates and restore your faith in the genre.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in for a second try.
Why not?
Okay,
Let's
good.
give it a go.
We got Adam, we got Michelle, everyone is on board. So look out, maybe we'll have a follow-up episode with this one.
But probably not this author.
Sorry, Catherine.